This video is intended to describe a lightblade talisman named Radial Loveshine, which is a rather high-yield variant of the tried-and-true pink-gray concentration Loveshine platform in wide distribution. Joining me today, my whimsical, well-utilized stick figure chakra map, which I'll be utilizing quite a bit for various chakra stimulation cues for the illustrative purposes of this dissertation. Without further ado, I shall discuss the primary blade band scaffolding seen much like so, developed to resemble vaguely a figure 8 to be the idyllic recirculation of energy for a contained closed-loop circuit. Starting off with the transmutation ratio seen right here for this quadrant, consisting of both hematite and smoky quartz in ignition sequence, going laterally like so, down the sides, to this lateral band as well, to be its own particular transmutation ratio quadrant. Hematite is a very fantastic iron-based grounder of energy, which takes all excessive stray radial energies and firmly grounds it through the root chakra, into the earth stars, and into the earth for reprocessing. In tandem with smoky quartz providing the same energetic function stimulation to the auric field, works just like hematite to be composting of excess energy and firmly grounds all excess energy through the root chakra, into the earth stars, and into the earth for reprocessing. So the two in tandem have been deemed the transmutation ratio for a very critical role. As a way, of course, to take the entire exotic crystalline pitch and bring a firm tangibility and grounding to, of course, encourage making the magic real. Pardon my strap. Please hold while I fix that for the dissertation. So the aspect of, once again, having this particular quadrant of the energy being very grounding takes the entire overture of the energy recirculating through this structure to firmly take the excessive higher frequency energy and tangibly ground it through the system, once again, into the earth for reprocessing, which also works as a very powerful way to be a surge protector to ensure the contact patch of the exotic crystalline composition is being firmly anchored, which of course discourages negativity internally and externally from stagnating inside the system. So that's exactly why the transmutation ratio is very essential to discuss first as a good foundational preface, particularly with a very higher frequency composition of extreme high yield capacity to be the essential contingency to encourage the rubber meeting the road. The apex band right here, where the necklace shall be installed, consisting of clear quartz to be a neutral accelerant of the energy. It also serves as a very nice consciousness-assisted resonance programmability, aka the intentional wielding of the recipient's prayers, energy to actually charge through this structure of the clear quartz to perpetually intensify the intentions. So that's indeed what makes it in the realm of consciousness-assisted technology. With the clear quartz going to the classic lapis lazuli, a great fantastic stone of antiquity of the 5th and 6th chakra stimulation of wind elemental spectrum, as well as quite praised in ancient Egyptian utilization, quite literally a favorite of millions for thousands of years for a very good reason, and also a very powerful enhancement of one's highest truth perception of one's sovereign's capacities, particularly in the aspects of latent magical capacities, or cities, if you would. Going into clear quartz into lepidolite. Lepidolite is a fantastic lithium-potassium-based purple ray crystal that is extremely soothing to the nervous system and the emotional body and is a very, very effective calming influence. With clear quartz and lapis and so on for the apex band as it grounds back into the transmutation scaffolding to encourage the grounded high-frequency energy to maintain a basic continuity. Then the Radial Loveshine blade band is a rather exotic take on what's typically a pink-gray, heavy concentrated, as a little joke, weaponized love broadcast frequency. And this would be why. Starting off with rutilated quartz to work as a massive supercharger accelerant for each node in this ignition sequence as it grounds back into the transmutation ratio once again, works to supercharge and intensify the entire ignition sequence, going into kunzite right here. Kunzite is a fantastic pink-gray, lithium-based, soothing divine love resonance frequency crystal that's very essential for calming divine high heart activation. Then in conjunction with the kunzite is golden healer quartz, which is a quintessential, clean, high heart, gold white light source attunement stimulant. So, of course, saying that out loud is very self-advantageous and self-evidently beneficial for the spiritual adept to have a very nice, clean attunement to the source of creation, particularly in ignition sequence. Then what makes this truly exceptional is the incorporation of Libyan gold tektite in bead format. Libyan gold tektite is a very powerful fire elemental solar plexus and sacrum stimulant, yet has such a powerful celestial activation, that's a gold ray of illumination, that activates the entire light body as a whole, which essentially makes it a very quintessential dharmic accelerant to manifest one's highest purpose incarnation into tangibility, as well as increasing manifestation, as well as psychic protection. The list goes on. Hence it was utilized by the Magi God King, the Pharaoh caste of antiquity, in their finery of their power breastplates, often carved into a scarab beetle, which is very befitting of the Magi God King of antiquity. So it's very cool to have it in a lovely specimen of faceted bead format to be part of the ignition sequence of a very ambitious radial loveshine. Then once again going into rutilated quartz to further intensify the octave of the pink ray concentration, into the classic and lovely rose quartz, a classic pink ray divine love resonance frequency crystal. Then going into golden healer quartz for the source emanation attunement once again, then into Libyan gold, rutilated quartz and kunzite, and so on, as it grounds back into the transmutation scaffolding to be the common ground to encourage the higher frequency love divine pitch to increase the tangibility and the practical grounding of this energy into the earth for making the magic real once again. So that discussed so far would just be the blade band scaffolding, like mentioned, vaguely resembles a figure 8 to be the crystalline containment to recirculate the energy of this very exotic composition. So next I'll be discussing the individual crystals that are fixed to the primary wire, seen right here, which serves as the main vein of copper, brass, and silver spooled together to be the common ground for all the other exotic frequency crystals to be grounded into, to be a way to be a closed loop circuit emanation for perpetual vibrational compound interest through the entire circuitry, aka all the various organs that make up this crystalline entity as a base vibration. At the very bottom right here is quite the mighty crystal of fulgurite, which is actually petrified lightning. That is lightning striking sand, which has a very intensive light body activation that simulates the entire chakra column from bottom to top, as well as utilized by shamans of antiquity to resonate with, to intensify their magic, medicine, or prayers with lightning force. So it's a classic shamanic spirit tool of antiquity that was very powerful for aiding the adept in amplification, manifestation of their intentions. So obviously a little dose of that ground into a closed loop circle goes a very long way to literally harness the power of lightning, with love being a very, very dominant feature of this construct. Speaking of dominant love frequency aspect of the construct, this right here would be a lovely cabochon of kunzite, much like the blade band right here, in a bit much more prominent dose. Kunzite is a very fantastic lithium-based pink ray soothing love frequency crystal that is very, very advantageous for calming, soothing, loving vibrations in a closed loop circuit. Then above that would be seraphinite, green ray crystal named after the seraphim archangels, which is a well-utilized crystal in my arsenal quite often for being a very practical, utilitarian, full light body activator and physical healer to dismantle patterns of dis-ease through the entire auric field from bottom to top. So it is quite essentially a very, very powerful master healer that's employed, like I mentioned, quite religiously for very advantageous purposes of rapidly dismantling outmottled patterns that would be impeding one's healthiest flow in connection to their factory blueprint, or basically their divine settings, if you would. And so it's a master healer incorporated there for that purpose. Then right here would be chaurite. Chaurite is a very fantastic violet ray dharmic accelerant, well utilized as well, and perhaps my favorite violet ray crystal for the purpose of being its own independent full light body activator as well. With the high induction of the dendric and the calcite in the purple ray matrix, the dendric, of course, is a very powerful black ray earth star stimulant for the bottom of the feet, with the calcite being a lovely clearing of stagnant energy for the entire system, as well as the purple obviously being a violet 6, 7, 8 non-physical chakra stimulant by itself makes for a very powerful containment of rapid purification through the entire auric field, which is very applicable for this very powerful rendition of the loveshine platform as its own high-frequency dharmic accelerant to burn off stagnant energies in a very effective way. And to further intensify the stability of the fifth chakra with such an ambitious high-yield construct would be the application of turquoise, seen right here. Turquoise is a classic fifth chakra stimulant, combining the aspects of earth, fire, water, and wind, thereby containing the unity of the terrestrial four elements of what can be considered the Lakota medicine wheel, through a fifth chakra focus. So its legend and lore is quite steeped in mythology of the world, but I will omit that to not make this video any longer than it has to be. But the aspect is that this particular blue ray crystal, like lapis, is a favorite of millions for thousands of years for a distinct purpose of being a true stone of truthful magic. So its fortification of the fifth chakra also provides a very excellent pranic stimulation of maintaining one's alignment, who they really are in truth, connection to creation, which is very, very advantageous for, once again, a very dynamic, high-yield construct. So I will save the selenites and the kyanites for last as part of the dissertation capstone. Next, I'll be discussing where the hood will be installed. Before I discuss the exotic crystals in here, I'll discuss the function of the white leather seen like so, which is far more than aesthetic. So the aspect of the white leather application, of course, makes a nice diffusing of the 7 rays of the whole spectrum of color, which is of course, a very nice color therapy resonance augmentation to this very high-yield divine construct. B, it also works as a way to, of course, ensure the crystals are protected as they're being worn or wielded as a talisman. And also, most importantly, C, it works as an energetic insulation to mitigate stray leakages. So when you have this properly installed, all the crystals in here will actually have less energy leaking, so it's more efficiently running through the primary blade band as well as the apex band for further energetic recirculation efficiency. And once it's properly installed, it does look aesthetically nice, but it's never the prerogative. It's all about performance here. So that'll be the white leather hood discussed. Now I'll be discussing what will be under the hood. This right here is black tektite, which is a product of Nicaragua impacting sand, carrying the extraterrestrial cosmic jolt from heaven to earth, quite literally. With that very powerful celestial impact stimulation of the vibratory threshold of this cosmic bearing crystal, it luckily is a black gray crystal that has a very nice raising of vibration from a foundational scaffolding point of the earth stars up to tangibly raise vibrations in a very ground up fashion, which is very advantageous for the entirety of the crystalline composition, which is a very practical way to literally raise vibrations with celestial power. Very fun fact, and also a quite staple in virtually all tech despite its platform for that utilitarian energetic feature. Then right here would be white scolecite, a lovely crystal utilized for the aspect of being the quintessential stone of divinity, in my humble opinion. As a fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakra stimulant back to one's godhead, it also brings a very soothing, calming, mental stimulation that is very indicative of the witness divine self. So having a little dose of divinity goes a very long way with this very divine construct. Then right here would be tanzanite, seen right there. Tanzanite is a very fantastic 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th chakra stimulant that is perhaps the most effective heart-mind coherent stimulant in the mineral kingdom for this purpose. So the aspect of having the heart-mind coherence of one's quantum connection to all of creation be consciously more accessible is, of course, once again, a very advantageous disposition for the spiritual adept, and I consider quite essential for highest spiritual efficiency. Because the mind has its limitations, but the heart has quantum access to everything, so the encouragement of those 2 points combined makes it a very, very effective disposition. Then right here would be Mount Shasta serpentine, quite literally from my backyard here in Mount Shasta right there, from a riverbed. Serpentine's a very fantastic full light body activator as well, and a serpentine kundalini stimulant in its own right, so it's very fantastic for cellular respiration augmentation through this entire construct. Then right here would be a clear lithium-based crystal named petalite. Petalite is another lithium-based crystal like kunzite as well as lepidolite, to be a very effective, clear, calming of the mind, anti-anxiety frequency as well, which is very advantageous to have that in the structure of a very powerful radial loveshine broadcast frequency to bring soothing vibrations, quite simply. So that would be the entirety of where the hood will be installed. Okay, at the very apex of this wooden core is a apophyllite pyramid. So apophyllite's a very powerful 6th, 7th, 8th higher chakra divine connection stimulant, and very fortuitously, I should say, it fit perfectly at the very apex right here to be the apex focus of divine focus as it gets recirculated into the apex band like so, to be another layer of intensive divine energy stimulation to be very effective in the entire operational system of this very ambitious loveshine variant. So that'd be most of the crystals discussed so far, and now the wooden core itself actually is cedar wood from my front yard over here. So very good friends of mine, of course, the twin trees in my front yard, and so naturally the core of the wood is a very advantageous natural wood range of great mythology between the singing cedars, between Solomon's utilization for cedar. The cedar is a very famous magical wood as well, but that is the carbon-based core of the entire device, as the rest, of course, makes a compatibility for grounding in the silica matrix of the crystals. To put it surprisingly simple for once. And so the aspect also of why I circle back to last but certainly not least is the selenite right here hewn to the core. So selenite by itself is a very fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th, all the non-physical chakras stimulant back to one's Godhead, which effectively works a very powerful conscious self, higher self connection point to burn off debris that be impeding one from one's higher guidance, which is very, very advantageous for the spiritual adept once again. As well as with that high frequency divine induction works as a great way to burn off stagnant energies from top to bottom of any impurities of the entire energy field, quite simply to clear negative energy. But where it truly shines at any given spirit tool, for that matter, is this critical feature. In a closed-loop reactive circuit with the crystalline collective, with the everything running in tandem, it can work with the entire crystal group to purify all of these crystals in a collective sequence. It can also work to intensify or amplify the entire collective, but perhaps most importantly, it can also work to bring harmonization and equilibrium to smooth out the entire crystalline group together. So, to summarize that triumphant trifecta of the selenite's purpose in conjunction with the rest of the crystals, it works to amplify the entire collective, to purify the entire collective, and harmonize the entire collective, which is always a triumphant trifecta of an effective spirit tool. Then right here will be the 4 spectrums of kyanite, black, orange, green, and blue, for a very distinct purpose of transferability of energy. So for this segment, I'll be moving my pen whimsically fast to do my best to illustrate the effective transference ratios of kyanite offers through the platform, which encourages this transferability of the energy power plant to encourage, once again, tangibility, to make the magic real is the prerogative here. So black kyanite is the most rapid grounder of energy through the root chakra as absolutely quick as possible into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing, which also works like a surge protector to ensure the frequency pitch is making a very strong contact with earth at all times, as well as another layer of etheric Teflon to discourage stagnant energies internally, externally, vice versa, to maintain the field with that much rerouting buffering capacity to disperse and reroute energy very quickly. Then in tandem with orange kyanite, which takes the sacrum to the highest capacity of creativity back to one's factory blueprint, as well as green kyanite to make the most rapid heart chakra transfers possible, internally, externally, you name it. As well as blue kyanite right here, which is essential third eye bridging stimulant that works very diligently, very quickly to basically resolder the hemispheres of the right and left hemispheres in whole brain thinking, aka no cross interference, awakened third eye. So, and also what that means too, with all 4 available to me at this collective right here, also makes to a very, very high yield transferability of the entirety of this construct in a very diverse fashion. Let's say, for a practical example, in aspects of diplomacy or mediation, the resonant frequency of this device will be of such powerful high yield love transference that broadcast of the energy will be very successful in transferring the energy into practical applications such as conversations, for that matter. Well, that would be the very ambitious rendition of the typical loveshine platform, now codenamed Radial loveshine for now. And that would be it. 1,000 blessings, and may the force be with us all.